Welcome, everybody. We will be starting today's very cool presentation in a couple of minutes.
Go to webinar.
Hello, welcome, everybody. We are at the 2-minute mark. Let's get this started. Thank you for joining us on this wonderful day. Today, we have Shelby Sanson-Stephens with us talking about writing for the modern world, being thought leader in 2024. Shelby Sanson-Stephens is a content creator for improving. She's a storyteller at heart with a decade of professional writing experience under her belt. When Shelby is not writing for improving, she's hanging out with her husband, Zach, and 2 dogs, Georgia and Walter. And she also loves to surf whenever she gets a chance to be near to the ocean and is currently learning to play the ukulele. Welcome, thank you, and the microphone is yours, Shelby.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today. I am going to go ahead and share my screen so we can get started with the presentation. All right, Maris, can everybody see this?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Move this up here. All right, so like Maris said, my name is Shelby Sanson-Stephens. After 4 years of marriage, I'm finally getting that Stephens tacked on there legally. So you might see that on social media. But my email is shelby.sanson@improving.com. If you have any questions that are related to this talk, make sure to contact me. But I'm really excited to talk to you guys today about writing for the modern world, being a thought leader in 2024. You know, it is more important than ever to be a thought leader within your community, and I want to help you guys do it. So let's get started. Well, there we go. Okay. So a little bit about me, so you know who is giving you this talk and why you should listen to what I have to say. So I graduated from the University of Mississippi in broadcast journalism. From there, I worked as a news reporter for 5 years in Memphis and Nashville, Tennessee. And that is where I learned a lot of key elements of how to be a thought leader. While being a journalist, you are objective. You still are on social media, especially nowadays. And you are really learning how to talk to a certain audience. So learned a lot there. And then I moved to Maui, Hawaii in 2020. My husband got a job there, and you know, there are no news stations there. So I had to figure out what I wanted to do with my career. I ended up freelancing for dozens of companies to figure out exactly what I wanted to do. And there I learned that I did want to write more for a living, that I wanted to write, that I wanted to work on social media, blogs, and really help other people too by editing their stuff, which was perfect. found this job as a content writer at Improving in 2021 when our family moved to Dallas. And instead of my headshot, I thought you'd want to see my pup in 2021. He's now 90 pounds and might make an appearance in this talk. He's walking around. Yeah, I've been with Improving ever since, and it's been a really fun ride. And I really love what I do. So what do I do at Improving? Well, I do a couple of things, but the big bullet points are social media content. So about 95% of what you see on social media, I've written. I do have some other awesome improvers that give me some content sometimes, but I make sure to schedule those out and get that out to you guys. I also write and edit blogs. Every once in a while, you'll see a blog written by me, but a lot of times I'm editing blogs and helping improvers become thought leaders of their own. That is really my passion, is really helping people through my talents, be able to give their insights to the world. It's really special, and I really have a good time with improvers. I also write and edit website content, so a lot of what you see on our website that has gone through me. And then I work with improvers on various thought leadership initiatives. So anytime somebody has an article written, sometimes people have emails that go out and they just want a second look at it. I'm that person. I always have an open door policy. If anybody just needs help with writing as the content writer, I'm here to help you. So today, what are we going to talk about? Well, we're going to first go over the overview of writing essentials, how to write blogs, and then social media tips and tricks. And then a bonus, how to use AI while staying true to yourself. We'll have some AI stuff sprinkled all throughout, but we'll look at ChatGPT at the end of this presentation. I also did want to let you know that even though these are organized in these specific ways, I think a lot of everything goes in, like they're all intertwined. So while social media tips and tricks is number 3, I think overview of writing essentials is definitely going to help you with that. Even writing blogs and social media, they're so intertwined nowadays that I think all of this is beneficial no matter what kind of thought leader you want to be. And again, questions, you can email me. I do want to say I'm already losing my voice. I'm pregnant, so I'm having a hard time breathing correctly. So if it sounds like I'm running a marathon, that is why. I'm not sick over here. But I'm sorry for the way that I'm speaking right now. Gotta take breaths. Okay, so before we go into actually being the thought leader online, what are we gonna write about? You first have to find the topic to write about. So people ask me all the time, this is kind of the thing that is keeping them from writing, is like, I just don't know what I'm gonna even write about. It's a simple question. What are you passionate about or know a lot about? These are the first topics that you should write on. Once we have nailed those down, we can use the 5 reasons to write a news story, which I learned in journalism school, but I think they can also help bring down the topic and figure out what exactly you want to talk about within your passion or within your expertise. So the first one is timeliness. So this is immediate or current information events that are newsworthy because they have recently occurred. It's news because it's new. So a good example of timeliness is literally, this was the first one that popped up when I looked up today's news. Jason Kelce, Philadelphia Eagles star, is retiring from the NFL. That was literally new right when I put this on the PowerPoint. So that is definitely timely. Number 2 is proximity. Local information and events are newsworthy because they affect people in our community and in our region. We care more about things that happen close to home, which is why local news is such a big deal. So for me, I live in Nashville, so I'm looking outside my window right now and there's snow on the ground. So for me, I want to know about the Nashville area road conditions to make sure that my husband that just went out is going to be okay. So definitely a proximity news story is this Nashville area road conditions. All right, so the number 3 is conflict and controversy. When violence strikes or when people argue about actions, events, ideas, policies, we care. Conflict and controversy affect our attention by highlighting problems or differences within the community. You know, I'm going to give you an example of this, but I don't really have to. It is inundated within our social media and our news cycle. Conflict and controversy is definitely something everyone talks about. So the controversy of this week is the Joe Coy, whatever award ceremony he was doing. he sparked some controversy within Hollywood, and now everyone's talking about it. So human interest, this is my favorite personally. People are interested in other people. Everyone has something to celebrate and something to complain about. We like unusual stories of people who accomplish amazing feats or handle a life crisis because we can identify with them. One of my favorite spots to see this is actually on social media. Humans of New York. If you haven't actually seen what they do, it's awesome. They just go around and find random people throughout the area and talk to them about their life. And I think it's so interesting to know the person that you're walking by on the street has such a unique and special story, and they do a really good job of highlighting that. And number 5 is relevance. People are attracted to information that helps make good decisions. If you like to cook, you find recipes relevant. If you're looking for a job, the business news is relevant. We depend on relevant information that helps us make decisions. Anybody else here look up how to make a how to make a turkey or a ham or cookies, anything like that for the holidays? That's a relevant article, and why they're so prevalent. And when you look this up, there's like 80 of these. Okay, so now we figured out that maybe we wanted to write about AI. And now there's a timely AI perspective. So we figured out through timeliness what exactly we're going to talk about. And we have figured that perfect subject out, and we are ready to write the story. What comes next? Well, first, if you are talking with me about writing a blog for improving, this is what I'm going to give you. And I think this is really helpful and has helped a lot of people. So first, you're going to come up with a thesis statement. I know for all of you people in here that are coders or just don't like English class in high school, like you didn't like it, you're going to hate me saying thesis statement. So really what it is, a 1 to 2 sentence summary. And then you're going to figure out who your audience will be in tone. And we're going to come back to this in a little bit. I have a few slides, but I do say go ahead and figure that out before you do anything else. And then from there, create an outline. You can do this by bullet points that look a lot like this PowerPoint. You can also do it through just subjects, like having your title and then having subtitles. Just figure out what you want to talk about so it's all organized. And then from there, I know it sounds gross, but barf it out. It's literally that you just start writing. Even if you think it's bad, you keep on writing until you've got all the information that is in your head out about this topic. And then you can go back over the draft until it feels right. I like to say, go ahead and get all of that out, because if you start nitpicking yourself in the middle of it, you're going to forget where you're going with the process. And you're going to forget key elements that you wanted in that story. And you're going to have to go back and put it in there. So just put it all out there, put all your words out, and then go over it several times. If needed, get 1 or 2 people to give feedback or edit. For improvers, that is me usually when they're writing blogs. I do tell people I wouldn't really go over 2 people to have look at your blog, because you will start to, or any of your writing, you'll start to get too many opinions, get kind of insecure about your writing style, and it just won't sound like you anymore. So just give a couple people a ping that you really trust to look over it. And then from there, finalize it. Look over grammar edits, give it to me, let me make it pretty, and then we'll finalize it and publish it. All right, so going back to audience and tone. So your audience can be as small or as large as you want it to. Ask, who is my audience? And it helps to write down your answers. And then remember in the back of your head, but you don't necessarily have to write them down, your secondary audience. They're not exactly who you're writing to, but make sure to keep them in mind. So say we're writing a blog that is meant for, say we're writing a Code Launch blog, right? So I help Code Launch with a lot of their stuff. We want to have the audience as people who will apply for Code Launch, so startup founders. But our secondary audience can be people who don't actually know what Code Launch is at all. It's not a startup person, but is interested in joining the event as an attendee. So you want to make sure you have a link to tickets. You want to make sure that you have a couple little things for them, but make sure the tone and the audience and the information in your blog is specifically for those startup founders, so they can get all their information and then have that secondary just in the back of your head. And then in knowing your audience, you can find your tone. So these are just a few words out of dozens, maybe hundreds, I don't know, of different tones that you can pick. Different topics equals different tones. For something like improving or social media, I tend to do pretty informal, but also informational and friendly. So I try to keep those words in the back of my mind as I'm writing for improving to give it its own specific flair. And some examples of using your audience and your tone and actually having them written above. This is what I do when I write blogs a lot of times. So I will put the audience, and who is the audience for this improving cloud computing blog? It's normal people who want to learn about the cloud. Improving, we could have used our platform, and other people may write in this way of their audience being experts, like actual people who work with the cloud every day. But for me, I wanted it to be normal people who want to learn about it. And then the tone for this specific blog was informative and informal. So the thesis statement or summary, if you're afraid of that word, there are 10 benefits to using cloud computing within your company. And you can see through the red and the green, if you ever want to take a screenshot to just kind of have an example. This is how I created the tone, the voice of this blog. So for informal, tossed around in business, the elusive cloud, just had some fun words in there that gave it a little bit of like a cheeky type of tone. And then, but we did want to be informative. So where it says, we at Improving believe cloud computing is beneficial for a vast majority of businesses and organizations, right? Why? Why are we writing this blog? That's the informative section. And then when I was freelancing, I wrote this blog, which is very different from Improving. So I wanted to show it as another example. I was actually given the audience and the tone from the client, and they said they wanted upper class and upper middle class women, usually over the age of 40. And in their tone, they wanted sophisticated. So I had to figure out what that meant. So really, I went through all of this, and I made sure that it sounded, women is pretty broad, upper class, middle, upper class women. So some of them may know a lot about interior design, some may not. So when writing this interior design blog, I wanted to make sure that it was something that they could understand, but then added some words in there to make it sophisticated. So stunning, rich, pop of color, lovely, warm tones, that kind of thing. And then going into that rule of thumb for writing on the internet, write like you're talking to your mom or an 8th grader, depending on your audience. So if we went back to this furnished blog, this definitely was more like your mom. But a lot of social media, especially Instagram, TikTok, that type of thing, put it down to like an 8th grader, even though it's for an adult audience base, you want to make sure that an 8th grader could understand it. So it's easy to read, because if it's too complex to read, people have so many other things they can read on the internet. They don't want to spend a lot of brain time on it. So you just want to keep it easy for them to understand and want to keep reading. So keep grammar in mind, but how you say it, write it. And don't be afraid to read your words out loud. This is something that I get so used to get embarrassed about, but now I just kind of do. And when I'm in public, even if I'm writing something, I'll just kind of whisper it out loud to make sure that I can read it. And it's probably embarrassing to the people around me, but it is really important, because if you stumble over it as you're reading it out loud, that means that somebody else's brain is going to stumble over it as they're reading it. And so you don't want that for your audience. Like I said, there are a lot of things to read. They don't want to have to read something confusing. They're just going to start skipping over it and go to the next thing. Okay, so next, though we do not keep a lot of formal writing rules, because right, this is writing for the modern world, we're not in English class anymore, I do want you to keep the point of view very clear as you are writing, no matter what type of writing you are doing. But usually this does go to blogs because they're longer form. So I sometimes will write and say first person and then realize I want it in second person halfway through. So I'll finish the barf it out section of writing, and then I'll go back and I will change all of the point of views to make sure that they match up and they are all in second person, even though I started out with the I and we. It just keeps things flowing and organized and easy to read. If you do not know this writing tool, you should know it and get it, unless you're a student, because I do hear that the like AI plagiarism apps that they have now are flagging Grammarly. So maybe don't use this, but for all of us worker bees, Grammarly is a wonderful tool. It is a tool. It's not something that you should have all confidence in. If you take a look at this screenshot, you can see that it flagged my 2 is's, and that is awesome and something I don't have to look over 18 times to figure out. Grammarly will just do it for me. But where it says talent right here, that actually was how I wanted it written, because, you know, I like to have a little fun and not have to be too on the nose for grammar. So just make sure to look at it, know it's a tool, but also know it's imperfect. All right, so blogs. If you're wanting to write a blog, there are several types you can do. It's not just writing your thoughts and being done with it. There are several others. Some are more popular than others, but I wanted to go through them with you guys so you can figure out what kind of blog you want to write. So first is one that works very good on Google SEO. They love a listicle. When you literally write a list, so that cloud computing blog, I made sure to make it a list, like 10 reasons, right? Like we just did a 6 of the tech trends for 2023 blog. And that 6 right there makes it a listicle, and you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 for your audience. The second one is Roundup. Blogs where you grab information from various sources. This can be information you got from Google, experts, or a group of people. You round them all up together and call it a blog. Opinion. We know these, usually on a topic that's newsworthy or timely. You spend time laying out your opinions for readers. Number 4 is curation. This one's not as popular, but it's when you take someone else's content, share it, and then write about it. Almost like if you're going to repost on LinkedIn and then share your thoughts, that type of thing. And then the how-to, when you Google how to cook a turkey, you're reading a how-to blog 99% of the time. And review, whether you review any good or service, reviewing a movie, that type of thing. That is the article you're looking at. Number 7, I love these. I love when we can do them on improving personal story. When you write about something that has happened to you personally, it kind of goes into the human interest. Said I love that too. These do really well because people love hearing about people and their experiences, and like sharing similarities or learning about their friend or even strangers. And they do pretty well. We had like a mentorship blog do really well a couple years ago that I really loved. A spotlight blog. We don't do these on blogs as much as we now do them on social media, but I do love a spotlight, writing about someone or something to highlight them. And then what we mainly do at improving thought leadership. So we combine a chance to learn along with the opinions and experiences of the writers to create these blogs. And of course, they do really well because you're not only learning something, but you're also getting the opinions and experiences of others and experts usually in the field. Okay, when I gave this talk a couple years ago, the biggest thing people wanted to hear about was SEO. SEO can sound really scary, but it's something that you're actually probably doing and you don't even realize it, because a lot of social media channels now use SEO. So what is it? So it's search engine optimization. It's basically a way to get your website seen within Google and now within the algorithm of social media channels. But we'll look a little bit of how Google does it first. So when you go on Google and you look up like this one, WordPress themes, you're going to see the paid results first. Those are the ones where literally the companies that want to be at the top will pay to be at the top of certain certain words typed out in the search bar. And then from there, your organic results, which is what you're trying to compete with others for with SEO, is like the top 3. I can't remember what the percentage is, but it's like 95% of the clicks are going to be within this top 3. So you're basically just trying to get to the top of Google's keywords here. Whenever somebody is typing in something, you want to be the first popped up here for the organic results. So you get free publicity, basically. How do you do this? It's through the SEO soup. So this, when we do our blogs, this is kind of what we're looking at. So quality backlinks is first. If I'm writing a blog on conscious capitalism, you betcha I am linking the conscious capitalism, the conscious capitalism website. So that is considered backlinks. If we wrote any other blogs within the same sphere, if it's a series, we are backlinking to all of that, and that really helps. Google likes that. Also, great content. If you are just going to go in and you are going to have just a bunch of keywords, but it doesn't sound good, it doesn't make any sense, then it's not going to work. So you need to really figure out how to use the great content, how to use the keywords that people are typing in as they're searching, but also make it nice to read, easy to read, and having people want to read what you're sharing. And then, of course, technical stuff, you need to know what you're talking about. If you're putting these keywords, but you have no idea what you're talking about, people are just going to click in and click out really quickly. So you need to know your stuff. And then with social media, I will say a lot of what they're doing is keywords, and we'll go into kind of how LinkedIn, how Facebook, all of those do that. But I just think if you use like keywords, if you think of SEO as keywords when you're doing SEO on social, that's basically what it is. And that's the easy gist of it. Okay, so before we jump into social media, remember that it's used personally as the new way we communicate with others as ourselves without clear motives like blogs. Blogs have titles, they have specific reasons why they're written. Social media, the individual posts have certain reasons, but you as a whole, your personal brand, that is basically your personality. And of course, it's going to be the best part of you. We're not going to put all the bad stuff usually out there. But you just need to remember to stay true to yourself because it does highlight who you are personally, and it is unique to everyone. And then I say, find your voice by writing the way you speak, no matter what, because that will show your uniqueness. If you are trying to figure out how to stand out in the crowd on social, that's how you do it. Be yourself and write like yourself. So the social media channels we are going to go over today. I'm going to go over LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. And I know you guys are probably like, well, you have left one out, Twitter/X. It is changing so rapidly right now. I didn't feel comfortable really sharing insights, knowing that it could potentially change. If you have any questions about TikTok or X, do know quite a bit about it, have been keeping up with the research on it. But I think these are the ones that people are really wanting to know how to implement right now. And my knowledge will have long-term results for you on this compared to X, which may be changing. So let's get into it with LinkedIn. LinkedIn, the tone is typically professional and formal. More formal, I will say all social media is pretty informal, but it is going to be more formal than the other social media channels. The size of the posts are typically long form. That can change if I am putting a video up. A lot of times I want it to be a little more short form, but for the most part, it's going to be long compared to something like Instagram or X. And then the content is typically work related. So some tips for LinkedIn. You're going to want to talk about and tag people. You want to engage with your coworkers, with your clients, with people who might have the same expertise as you. That'll really go a long way in building your network. Tell a story and start with a sentence that grabs people's attention. So if you think about LinkedIn and if you've scrolled on there a lot, you will notice that after a few sentences, you're going to have to click a look at more thing for the whole content to come up. And it's really hard to get people on social media to actually click anything because they just want to kind of scroll. So what you want to do is have a first sentence that grabs someone so much that they want to continue reading your stuff by clicking on what you have. And that really starts with that first sentence. Next, you're going to brag on yourself. That is so hard for people to do, I know, but people want to know about your accomplishments. So go ahead and let them know. That's what LinkedIn is for. And then provide advice and your perspective on trending topics. Like I said, SEO is really big on social media now. So anything that a lot of people are talking about, keywords, AI, We do a lot of like free learning for these specifically because people want to know how they can get free learning. Make sure to use those keywords within your content and provide your advice and your perspective on it, and you'll start building up your audience. And like I said, implement SEO within the content of the body and hashtags below it. So what I like to do is have my keywords. So keywords are basically taking over hashtags. So if you know, and if you've used hashtags before on X or on LinkedIn, now LinkedIn is a little slower implementing SEO. So I still think that hashtags are important because people are still using them. But you also want to implement the SEO, the keywords without the hashtag. So basically the same words without the hashtag within the content of the body. And then because hashtags are still being used at the bottom of your copy, for me, I like to put the hashtags, and that has worked really well for gaining an audience so far. A great example of LinkedIn is Improving's own Tim Dickey. He's become a really great thought leader within the LinkedIn space. He's now like one of LinkedIn's top creators or whatever. It's really cool what he has done throughout the past year. And a way that he has gotten LinkedIn, this post specifically just really popped out to me. I really loved it. So what he did was that he had a topic he wanted to talk about, AI. And while that is a trending topic, it's kind of been a trending topic all year. So he wanted to make it even more niche to the timeliness of the day. And when he posts this, it was Thanksgiving Day. So he creatively tied in Thanksgiving and AI, two things that don't typically go together. He put those together and made this great post. So this is the graphic that he used with the words. You can see that he used hashtags within his copy. That's totally fine. But at the bottom, he did life at improving. That's where I put all my hashtags. And then he also has keywords. So he has Thanksgiving Day, human experience, AI, artificial intelligence. So the keyword, it's kind of in the middle. He says AI is no different. So he has both the hashtags and the keywords together to create a wonderful post that is going to reach a lot of people. Another breath. Hold on, give me 1 second. Okay, so Facebook. Facebook's tone is way more informal and friendly. It's supposed to be friendly. Okay, we can debate about whether it's friendly or not. But for us, we are going to be friendly on Facebook. The size of the posts are both long and short form. And the content is literally anything. This can go to LinkedIn as well. My advice here is to be consistent in posting. So make sure you are on schedule, you're posting several times a week, but be inconsistent in the types of posts that you share. You can do video one day, photos one day, links to like a blog or a different website another day, just having a lot of stuff for people to view. A good Facebook post is Code Launch. They implement hashtags on Facebook as well. Not a lot of people do that, but I will say me as someone who knows these platforms really well, every once in a while I will go on Facebook and I will do a hashtag. Like I said, I'm pregnant. So like hashtag May babies or hashtag first time moms, that type of thing. And you can get some pretty good content. So what they did, you can see they used a lot of emojis. They tagged a lot of people and they used their really great photo content to put out a thank you to their audience and really did an informal, friendly way. Instagram. Instagram's tone is typically informal and optimistic, starting to go not as optimistic, but that's just, you know, it's the waves of socials. The older they get, the less optimistic, unfortunately, they get. But we're going to be optimistic, just like we're going to be friendly on Facebook. And then the size of the posts are both short and long form. The content is personal and typically promotable. Instagram has gotten on the bandwagon over the past 5 years of just really shopping experiences and promoting other people's content. So a good person who does this is one of my favorite podcasters. I love the way that she implements social media. So this social, she was talking about reading the Gospels for her podcast. And so she wanted to do a little bit behind the scenes. So that's both personal and promotable, because the behind the scenes part, it's really part of her life. It's not just a graphic with the thing on her book that says, let's read the Gospels. It's her and all the people who did the podcast together. showing a little bit of her personality there while also promoting the thing that she wants you to do. And post versus reels, because obviously we're seeing a lot more video on Instagram than we have ever seen before. Video is so important, especially to a personal brand nowadays. So post versus reels, which one should you do? So if you implement videos into your Instagram platform, talk instead of type if you're comfortable doing so. I really recommend starting videos, but remember that practice makes perfect. I saw a TikTok the other day that I was like, oh man, I should have like put this in here, but it was like, be cringe. It's like the millennial and Gen Z way of saying it, like be cringy, feel like you are a clown. Because you are going to feel that way. You're going to feel embarrassed if you're looking at yourself in your phone and doing a video, but you're going to have to do that over and over again before you get comfortable actually posting something. So practice as much as you can. And then from there, you will be able to really showcase your personality, and really help people understand you better. Also, from a marketing perspective, videos showcase a lot of things better than a photo can. So say, like my side hustle, every once in a while, I'll do like hair videos for a hair company. And for that, they could either have somebody take a picture of like a headband on their hair, or they could have me going like this and like showing you how to put it on and how I put it on to create this specific hairstyle. And that'll help people understand what the product does, and two, it'll help you have more eyes on your product or yourself for longer. So instead of somebody just scrolling, looking for a couple of seconds and then continue scrolling, they might spend 2 minutes looking at your stuff. That's 2 minutes that basically you got a free commercial for. So video content is great, which is going into TikTok. All of that is the same thing with TikTok. TikTok posts are informal and relatable. So the size of the posts are both short and long videos. The content is personal and get niche. When I say the size of the post, so a lot of times like people were doing like 7-second videos. That was like the trending thing, is to have really short videos. But now TikTok is telling people they want to kind of take over the YouTube space. And so they're trying to get people to do about 10-minute videos. So literally, if you have an idea for something, I say do it no matter what size of video that is. And when I say personal and get niche, here's an example, my TikTok. You want to see niche? A compilation, if you look at my bio, a compilation of pregnancy and hair content. Yeah, that's pretty niche. So I have chronic back pain. Started sharing my experience with people, got a lot of people talking about both being pregnant and being in chronic pain. That is something that obviously not a lot of people experience, but when you do, it kind of takes over your life. So the people who are experiencing it are engaging with me, and I'm getting a lot of feedback, which is really cool. And then the opposite side of that, I've got a lot of hair. So I started doing hair tutorial videos a couple years ago, and obviously you can see the pinned videos, they have started to do really well. So the two things I know people want to see from me compared to kind of my passions as well, I put out there and do okay for myself. So when I say get niche, figure out your niche and really, really hype it up. With both Instagram and TikTok, if you are wanting to promote something that you are doing, whether that be a blog, like I know that we put out a video with Mark Kovacevic at Improving, and he was talking about conscious capitalism. I took a little snippet of what we used as his like theming for the blog. I put a 30-second video out there, and then I said, go to the link in our bio, because you will need to link it there, because Instagram and TikTok don't link in their specific posts. So you'll have to tell your audience, go to my link, make sure to tell them that, and then go to Linktree. This is free. I did clean up Improvings for the new year, but usually we have several other little areas of new news stories and stuff like that where people can click on it really easily. It's just really helpful for these two platforms. And then planning. So if you're saying, okay, all of this sounds great, but how can I make sure that I do it consistently? You can plan. You can create a weekly or monthly schedule to ensure you post consistently. If you know Excel, there are several different, you can go into Google and just say free Excel templates for social media marketing, and you can use those. Play around with posting times to see what works for you. So I used to say, there are specific times for different platforms that work best because the algorithms are now so so good at what they do, really, is they don't even really have specific times nowadays. If you post something at midnight and the content is really good and you have really good keywords, people are going to see that the next day, which is something that wasn't happening in the past. So play around with it. Do posts work better for you and your specific topics in the morning? What about the evening? I know for me and my hair tutorials, the evenings actually work better, which is crazy. I think because people are off work and maybe Friday night trying to figure out what they want to do with their hair. I don't know. So play around with it, see what works for you. And then use analytics. Most channels have their own, so don't worry about having to go pay for a platform, especially in the beginning. So go to these analytics and understand which posts are working for you, which are not. Treat it like a game and just figure out what is working. And then analytic vocab. If you are using those analytics, you are going to pretty much see these words throughout all social media channels. So impressions are how many people took time to look at the post, depending on what kind of post, whether it's video format or copy or a link or whatever. Every social media channel has different times on how much, like when you're scrolling and you stop to read something, how many seconds or milliseconds or whatever it takes. They're going to count it as an impression. And it should say that within the social analytics, how much time that'll take. Unique visitors, how many people actually looked at your profile without duplicates. That is really interesting to know, and something that I look at a lot. Reactions, like shares, hearts, comments, etc. How many people are reacting to your stuff? And then clicks, the amount of people who click on a link in your post or your profile. Honestly, a great one to see, like, is this working? Is my copy to try to get you to click on my blog, did that work? Clicks is a really great way to see that. And then mentions, when you're tagged or referred to on other posts. If you become a good thought leader and you want to be experts in the field, you'll start seeing more of those mentions, and it's really fun to see who's mentioning you. And last, social media principles for success, Park. These are just good to remember as you are in the grind of being a thought leader. Let's remember to be all of these things, because you can get caught up in it, and a lot of people do. And if you don't really stand with Park, which is what you would learn in a marketing class, then you could end up in hot water and not be successful in the long run. So first, participatory, interact with the community, answer questions, and thank those who respond. Authenticity, people do business with others they know, like, and trust. Gen Z especially, they can sniff out inauthenticity so quick. So make sure to be yourself. Don't try to be someone you're not. Resourceful, present useful and relevant content or helpful information. What's the point of putting stuff out there if you're not gonna be helpful with your content? And I guess you can be entertaining too, but helpful content does really well. And then credible is building a reputation for knowledge and expertise in the field and building a brand's trustworthiness. This is where people can get into hot water. If you're not credible, I know some people have, like influencers have gotten in hot water on TikTok because they are, someone finds out that they're not being credible, that they're just doing it for a paycheck, and the person doesn't actually like the product, and that is something that you really need to make sure you're doing before I post this. Is this something that I agree with? All right, so ChatGPT, we are actually going to get out of this PowerPoint and we are going to use ChatGPT because I think it's a fantastic tool. And like I said, it's a tool. It's not the primary writer. I can already go in LinkedIn and sniff out a ChatGPT social media post. So if I can do it, I know others can. And I do use ChatGPT probably every other day, if not every day. So I know other people do it as well. So edit what it gives you. Don't just copy and paste what it gives you. Even if you think it's great, still make some changes. So we're gonna do that now. And Maris, let me know if you can't see this. I know we practiced this, but let me know if everything is working. So we're gonna go through this example. Write me a social media post about this blog. And it's a blog that we just published. Go. So I'm literally gonna put that. Write me a social post about this blog. So this is what ChatGPT gives me. Walter, go sit over there. Sorry, my dog. So this is what it gives me. And I think that's really good. So I'm just going to edit it right here so you guys can see it at the bottom. Let me know if you can't see it. So I'm not really a big fan of emojis at the beginning. You know, I will use an emoji every once in a while, but I don't think it's that relevant to this specific thing. So I went ahead and took that out. Exciting tech insights ahead. I think we just want to go ahead and let people know to check it out. I don't know if we need to do that forward because we want that first sentence. Like I'm going to put this on LinkedIn. So I want that first sentence to be relative and something that makes people stop. So check out this must-read blog on 6 tech trends that dominated 2023. Yeah, I like that. If I had more time, I might add an adjective or two. From AI breakthroughs to latest in cybersecurity, it's a journey through the tech landscape that you don't want to miss. Yeah. Dive in and let's take out the emojis. Dive in the future here, insert link, tech trends, innovation, 2023 tech review. This actually did a lot better than you can see yesterday. I attempted it. You can see what it gave me. And that one was a lot better. Let's go through this one because this one you can change a lot more. So like I wouldn't put must read right here. 2023 tech. I like the hashtags that it put yesterday. It took out the emojis. And then yeah, I could go ahead and post that. But say I wanted something that was write me a social post about this blog that is cheeky and informal for the company's LinkedIn page, which is not cheeky is not something that I would typically put on our LinkedIn. So I just wanted to see what it would do, right? So geek alert, dive into Tech Wonderland. The Tech Wonderlands, you can see that tone change with their latest blog on the 6 trends that rocked 2023. So totally different tone. ChatGPT did it for us on the things that I actually told you guys to do. So I wouldn't put hashtag geek out. I probably wouldn't put geek alert here. But I think it's fun. Like grab your virtual popcorn and join in on the nerdy fun. Like, let's be honest, we're nerds. We love it. So that is something that you could potentially like maybe on our Instagram post or something like on a Friday, post that together. And I think that's really fun. So like I said, this is a tool, make sure to edit it, but it does give you really good feedback. And a lot of times I'll even go in, you can see I use it all the time. I will go in on ChatGPT and I'll ask it for similar words. So I used to use the thesaurus a lot for blogs. And now I think ChatGPT does a really good job of showing me words that aren't necessarily like synonyms, but are still similar to the word I'm looking for. And sometimes it just saves me a good 2 minutes of time that I would typically use to just try to have like more adjectives for my blog. So it just saves me like 5-10 minutes sometimes on that. So I really love it. And if you have any questions on ChatGPT more on how I gamify it, because I do treat it kind of like a game to help me with my work. Like I said, questions and comments, make sure to email me. If you're with Improving, you can Teams me as well, or add me on any social media, Shelby Santone Stevens, I think on basically all of it. And I'll make sure to get to you. So that is it. Maris, is there any questions or anything like that? I think we have about 10 minutes if so. If anybody wants to put anything in the Q&A.
Thank you, Shelby. That's amazing and very interesting talk. Thank you for this. And we don't have any question, but I put your LinkedIn and we have your email.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so if anybody has any questions, just make sure to send them to me. Okay, perfect. You put my LinkedIn in there. Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, this is great.
That's very interesting, and thank you so much, and thank you for joining us. See you soon.
Awesome. Thanks.
Thank you. Have a nice day.